SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
Never take your heart health for granted. For just $99, you can get a complete screening and know your risks. Call 601-249-5198 to schedule your Happy Healthy Heart screening at Southwest Mississippi Regional Medical Center.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning, Mississippi.
Everything gonna be all right this morning.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
Oh, yeah.
Here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Woo! Now, when I was a young boy, at the age of 5, my mother said I was gonna be the greatest man alive. But now I'm a man.
Well, good Tuesday morning, Mississippi. Super Talk Mississippi mornings with Richard Cross. Richard will be in just a minute. I'm Lance. I'll man the fort here for just a second and get you guys started off as Richard gets settled in. And happy Tuesday to everybody. A little wet around the state today, I believe, especially if you're in the central Mississippi area. Be careful getting up, heading to work this morning. If you're in the metro, I know that it was extremely rainy and dark and misty. The roads were slick, had all that grit and grime on them for the last 2 weeks of no rain. So please, folks, take it easy getting in this morning. In Oxford, you're going to have intervals of cloud and some sunshine, a stray shower, maybe a thunderstorm possible, a high near 90 degrees, and light and variable winds will be on the horizon for you. Canton, Mississippi, partly cloudy skies, stray shower here or there, possibly a thunderstorm mixed in. High near 90 again, winds light and variable. And you know how that feels when it's 90 degrees. It's going to be humid if there's rain. Rolling Fork, right up the road from the camp, intervals of clouds and sunshine again. A stray shower, thunderstorm possible, pretty much on repeat here. 94 degrees, though. A little hotter in the Delta, probably a little more humid, and not a whole lot of wind to worry about as well. Pascagoula, sunny, along with a few afternoon clouds. I think Pascagoula is going to take the cake today for probably the best weather in the state, high of 88, and up to a 10-mile-an-hour wind. So, that's what you get to look forward to over there. And back yesterday, we were talking about, as we started the day, we had obviously some questions about the hunting season. Youth squirrel, September 24th through the 30th. I wanted to mention that. The fall season for squirrel, October 1st, is when that starts. So that's around the horn here. Rabbit season, October the 18th. And if there are any quail around here, let me know, because that's November 27th. And that's some of the small game stuff there. If you're a possum, raccoon, and bobcat hunter, October 1st gets you kicking on that. And then deer hunting, archery, September 12th through the 14th. And either sex on private or public land is October 15th through 21st. And then youth season starts November 8th. So right around the corner, folks, is all the hunting that you can handle. Duck season will roll around a little later. And, get ready, because I can tell you, being out in the Delta over the weekend, everybody's getting ready, and there's some fields even still getting plowed, it seemed a little late in the season for that, but it's happening. A few things happen on this day, but let's go with some birthdays first. James Cash Penney, American department store founder of J.C. Penney, born in Hamilton, Missouri. And he opened his first store in 1902, and the Golden Rule store in Kennemer, Wyoming. And in 1929, opened store 1252 in Milford, Delaware, making it a nationwide company with stores in all, at the time, 48 United States. 2020, 118-year-old department store J.C. Penney filed for bankruptcy. Lauren Bacall, American singer, actress, named the 20th greatest female star of classic Hollywood cinema. Dark Passage, Key Largo, born in Staten Island, New York, in 1924 on this day. I think I got my guy with me here now, ready to go, fired up, got a new hat on. I like the lid, brother.
Got your guy.
Guy here.
Ole Miss golf hat.
Yeah, that's a new lid there. I like that.
They're tied for first as they go to final day of the tournament in, where is it? Chattanooga. Playing at the honors course in
probably hilly over there. I mean, Chattanooga's got some. Well, we got to Lauren Bacall, so you know.
Well,
BB
I mean,
King,
just full disclosure, I could try to pretend that there's some sort of technical issue. Lance probably said something nice for me. I don't know what happened. I don't know.
life.
I mean, there were multiple alarms set. My wife is out of town. Maybe it just all goes to heck in a handbasket when she's gone. But glad to be with you.
Yeah.
We call this Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi. We started out Mornings with Lance right out of the gate today, but we're glad to be with you. BB King was born on this day in 1925, the American blues guitarist and Mississippian from Itta-Bena. Guest that we had on the show just a couple of weeks ago, Jerry Pate, born in 1953. He is the co-designer of Old Waverly Golf Club and won the U.S. Open. 22 years old, Jerry Pate, when he won the U.S. Open, coming out of the University of Alabama as a rookie on the PGA Tour. David Copperfield is 69 today, born in 1956. Made the Statue of Liberty disappear? I mean, that's the deal with him, but I just still don't get it. I don't know. Like the magician that you see in a restaurant that pulls a rabbit out of the hat or whatever, okay. But the big illusionists, I can't wrap my mind around it. I can't make it make sense. They're so good at what they do.
Oh, they are. I don't see how they do it, like the David Blaine stuff and Copperfield, the big things. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. I've never figured that out either.
I mean, Harry Houdini inside a box that gets thrown over Niagara Falls and it's wrapped up with chains and he somehow gets out. How? How does that happen? I don't know. Amy Poehler's 54, the American comedian and actress from Saturday Night Live and Parks and Rec. She was born in Newton, Massachusetts. Nick Jonas, born in 1992, of the Jonas Brothers. What was his brother's name? So there's Nick
Jonas. One of the Jonas brothers.
Thank you.
Thank you. There's three,
Nick
right?
And Fred. Maybe so. He's the most successful of the three. Like, he's gone on to do other things as well, including be on The Voice, a couple of different stints. And golfer Bryson DeChambeau, born on this day in 1993. Two-time U.S. Open champion, born in Modesto, California. Out of the big split that they had with the PGA Tour and LIV and the guys leaving, this is the guy that has made the most of it. He is the one that has managed to stay most relevant through it all. But it's not so much, I mean, it is in part because of his golf. He is an elite golfer who's won 2 majors. But his popularity through YouTube and what he has built is really, really cool. So, happy birthday, Bryson. The Mayflower departed Plymouth, England on this day with 102 pilgrims and about 30 crew for the New World. There you go. Old Tom Morris was the first ever, or at least the first recorded ever, to make a hole-in-one at Prestwick, number 8 in Scotland, on this day in 1869. I feel like somebody would have made a hole-in-one before that.
Yeah, it must have been very long holes, like 500-yarders.
I don't know. Yeah, first recorded hole-in-one, though.
That's when they invented the par 3.
Perhaps so. This day in 1920, you had the Wall Street bombing. At exactly 12:01, a bomb carried in a horse carriage, approximately 100 pounds of dynamite, exploded outside the J.P. Morgan building at 23 Wall Street. The bomb killed 30 people instantly, and a further 8 died of their injuries later on. The driver of the wagon managed to escape, and this complicated efforts to find the perpetrators. Investigators initially thought it could have been an accident, given the lack of a specific target, and given that most of the dead were young people working jobs as messengers and stenographers. The FBI was never able to decisively say who carried out the bombing. Historians and investigators through the years believe it was the work of anarchists who had been responsible for a series of attacks across America in 1919. It was believed that a group called the Galleonists Italian anarchists who followed Luigi Galliani were responsible. He had recently been deported, and it is speculated that the bombing may have been in retaliation for that. A couple of others for you before we wrap this up. 1940, you had the first U.S. peacetime draft. Franklin Delano Roosevelt signed the Selective Training and Service Act. First time that had ever happened in the United States. The debut of the Bob Newhart Show on this day in 1972 on CBS. First episode was called Fly Unfriendly Skies. 1983, Arnold Schwarzenegger officially became an American citizen. 1984, you had the first broadcast of Miami Vice. How cool were those guys?
Oh, the best, yeah.
Kelsey Grammer and David Hyde Pierce debuted together on Frasier on this day in 1993. And then how about this? Judge Judy launched on this day in 1996. Judith Scheinlin, best known for her own with her on-screen name, Judge Judy. 2012 to 2020, she earned $47 million a year from hosting the once top-rated show. She was the highest-paid TV host in 2018 after she sold the rights to the Judge Judy 5,200-episode library for $100 million.
From the Venable Glass
Mississippi.
Glad to start the day with you. It's Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi, streaming at supertalk.fm, SuperTalk TV, and of course on your SuperTalk Mississippi radio stations. Thanks for joining us. C-Spire text line is open at 601-879-4395. 601-879-4395. Let's see here. CC says, uh-oh. Richard got into some of that rock gut last night. No. Just happened. Thankfully, not very often, and thankfully, I got a good buddy like Lance who can grab the phone and be like, "Get up, you moron! What are you doing?"
Yeah, but I know we're a certain amount of time before the kickoff. I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
All right, some news headlines for you this morning. Hernando Ward 5 Alderman Kit Kitchens announced Friday that he will introduce a motion at the board meeting tonight to rename a street in memory of Charlie Kirk, who founded the national youth organization Turning Point USA. Kitchens said possible streets for renaming include Center Street and Loescher Street, both of which are directly tied to the town square, and emphasized that community feedback will guide his proposal. Like Charlie would want, I want to hear from the people of Hernando, Kitchens said. If the street renaming motion were to be approved, Hernando would become one of the first communities in the nation to permanently honor Kirk. The alderman also referenced similar efforts happening in both Florida and South Carolina. What do you think about that?
I think it's great, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, if the people want to honor Charlie, more power to them. And I think it's a great idea, honestly. I mean, he was. You can say he's a martyr if you want. I mean, the man went out and tried to have conversations with people. You know, I mean, that's what he was trying to do. Shot and killed on a Sunday at a university. Sure. You know, so yeah, I mean, to me, I think the more you can honor the man.
Wednesday,
yeah.
Glenn Beck has made a pretty compelling argument that he is a civil rights leader.
I mean, I would say that he is, especially from the Christian side of it, and the people of faith. I think it speaks volumes, and not just Christianity. I think it's just the trying to, communicate in a way that is respectful to one another. Sure. And I think that was the big thing, and that is a Christian type of mindset. But I think it also shows that he cared about all people. I don't think he was a racist in any way. I don't think he was a homophobe in any way. Just a good guy that was committed to his endeavor and had an amazing movement behind him. Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's a great honor. I really do.
Officials are investigating after a body was found hanging from a tree on the campus of Delta State yesterday. Found by a staffer around 7 o'clock yesterday morning near Central Campus, according to Delta State Police Chief Michael Peeler. Peeler and Delta State's president, Dr. Daniel Ennis, announced during an afternoon press conference that the deceased had been identified as Demetravian Trey Reed, student at the university. Reed is 21 years old, graduated in 2023 from Grenada High School. Authorities added that no foul play is suspected at this time. However, the investigation into the matter remains open with the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation, Bolivar County Sheriff's Department, and the Cleveland Police Department aiding Delta State's Police Department in their investigation. It was at the very, very end of the show yesterday. We got a message that said a body had been found on Delta State's campus. And when I say very, no way to fact check it, no way to reach out to anybody, no way to, and it turned out to be true. I think it was Thomas that sent us that notice at the end of the show yesterday. It may have been somebody else, but I guess inside baseball here, if you send us something like that, just because we immediately know about it doesn't mean we can immediately say it on the air. Sometimes we got to dig just a little bit anyway. But scary stuff there. In a sign of how unusual this week's Federal Reserve meeting is, the decision it will make on interest rates, which is usually the main event, is just one of the key unknowns to be resolved when officials gather today and tomorrow. For now, it's not even clear who exactly is going to be there. Late on Monday, the Senate narrowly confirmed Stephen Myron, a top White House economic aide, whom Trump nominated to fill a vacancy on the Fed board, which now gives Myron a seat at the table during the Fed meeting. And then there is Lisa Cook, the embattled board governor, who Trump is trying to remove from her position. But an appeals court yesterday said that Cook can remain in her role, which she too means will be at the meeting. But the Trump administration is expected to quickly turn to the Supreme Court in a last-ditch bid to unseat her, so it is possible if she is unseated by the Supreme Court, she would be kicked out of the meeting. So the question that the Fed is wrestling with, are you more worried about people who are out of work and struggling to find jobs, or do you focus more on the struggles of Americans who are facing keeping up with rising costs for groceries and other items?
The actual reality is that's their job is to handle both of them.
The mandate from Congress requires them to seek stable prices and full employment. Yes. And so Fed Chair Jerome Powell and other Fed policymakers have signaled that the Fed is at least mildly more concerned about weaker hiring, and is the reason that most believe that the central bank will reduce its benchmark interest rate by 0.25 point tomorrow to about 4.1%. Tesla's stock is climbing, and CEO Elon Musk is buying. He disclosed the purchase of more than 2.5 million shares with the SEC, worth approximately $1 billion. Shares of the electric vehicle rose yesterday 3.6% to over $410 per share. Musk purchased various amounts of shares at different prices at the end of last week, according to a regulatory filing. The move may be viewed by markets as the billionaire remaining confident in the future of the company. I guess that's putting your money where your mouth is, because there never has really been any question about Elon Musk's confidence when it comes to Tesla. But you got to have something to justify why the market does what it does, I suppose. Earlier this month, Tesla released a proposed pay package for Musk. You remember this has been the subject of controversy. Like, they said a while back, we're going to pay him this, and the shareholders said, yes, we're for that. and then a court struck it down and said, no, you can't pay him that. I honestly don't remember a time previously where that's been the case. Lance, you got to help me remember. Weren't they incorporated in Delaware at the time, and that sparked the move of Tesla out of Delaware for a headquarters?
I think so.
Delaware, right, which is, I mean, it's a incredibly wealthy state because it has been this protective haven for corporations, but they have stopped allowing that protection and have started meddling in the affairs of companies, and they're leaving as fast as they can. Tesla said...
Originally incorporated in San Carlos, California.
Oh, okay.
As Tesla Motors, July 1st, 2003, by Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpening in San Carlos, California.
Okay.
It says...
we know they moved from California to Texas.
It says Tesla, like many other Fortune 500 companies, is incorporated in Delaware.
There we go.
February 15th, 2024.
Yeah. Corporate offices.
Mm-hmm.
The pay package for Musk would make him possibly, if he hits a series of extremely aggressive targets over the next decade, the world's first trillionaire. Tesla said in the filing that it is going to hand Musk shares worth as much as 12% of the company in a dozen separate packages if they meet certain performance targets, including massive increases in car production, share price, and operating profit. If approved by shareholders, the new pay package would make Musk the first trillionaire in the world and would mark a new level of outsized pay in an era of extreme compensation.
A lot of money there.
Yeah. If I'm a Tesla shareholder, I'm for it because let's see here.
Well, I mean, you basically self-finance your company if you got that kind of money.
Yeah, but if I own a bunch of stock and there's one guy that drives the growth of the company to the point that he's worth $1 trillion, guess what my stock did?
Well, I mean, that's my point. Show me where a bank that has $1 trillion. I mean, so you really don't have to worry about the bank having you over a barrel ever when you're a trillionaire. You're like, hey, I can self-finance this if I want. I can throw y'all a bone and let you make some interest, though.
Although much of it would be on paper.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi. Glad to be with you. We'll take a look at some sports headlines coming up next. That's brought to you by Pearl River Resort.
When I'm tired and thinking cold, I hide in my music, forget the day, and dream of a girl I used to know. I close my eyes and she slipped away.
C-Spire text line is open to you at 601-879-4395. C-Spire's got you covered with all the things that you need to make your business work. You're looking for game-changing technology? Then you need C-Spire on your team. 5G wireless, fiber home internet, and business IT solutions built as tough as your defense. Learn more at cspire.com. C-Spire, inspired by you. It's time for your morning sports update, brought to you by Pearl River Resort. Visit them online at pearlriverresort.com. Stop by in person. Check out the sports book inside the Golden Moon Casino. Great place to watch games, get in on the action, hang out with pals, grab something to eat, and just have a great time. Pearl River Resort. So much happening. Family fun, casino thrills, and live entertainment. A couple of players of the week, either from the state of Mississippi or with Mississippi ties in Oxford. Ole Miss left tackle Diego Pounds earned the SEC's Co-Offensive Lineman of the Week award due to his efforts in helping backup quarterback Trinidad Chambliss lead the number 13 Rebels to a nail-biting win over Arkansas. Rebs improved to 3-0 on the year, 2-0 in the SEC. Pounds was in on all 75 snaps in the contest. playing maybe the most crucial role up front. Chambliss sacked just one time in the ball game, 475 yards of offense on the night for Ole Miss. He shared the recognition with Vanderbilt's Jordan White. Said one with a tie to Mississippi. This guy from the state of Mississippi, Lance can remember his name, Bray Hubbard from Ocean Springs. He's now at Alabama.
Baller.
He could play. Playing on the defensive side for the Crimson Tide, SEC Co-Defensive Player of the Week after logging 5 tackles and 2 interceptions in Alabama's 38-14 win over Wisconsin. There was a big fight in Vegas on Saturday night, the sanctioned kind. Over 41 million viewers tuned into Netflix to watch Terrence Crawford dethrone Canelo Alvarez for the undisputed super middleweight title in front of a sold-out Allegiant Stadium crowd on Saturday night in Vegas. More than 70,000 at the event, over 41 million watching on Netflix. The Canelo Crawford bout did not eclipse the record. This number's just silly, and a reminder that great boxing and great boxers draw crowds, but freak shows draw even bigger crowds. 108 million is the number that watched Jake Paul fight Mike Tyson last November. But this Canelo-Crawford matchup was easily the most viewed men's championship boxing of this century. According to Netflix, they peaked at over 24 million concurrent streams, with the main event scoring an estimated average minute audience of almost 37 minutes. That's really good.
Stayed through some commercials.
Mm-hmm. The event was also number 1 on Netflix in 30 different countries: the United States, Mexico, Canada, Ireland, Australia, and more. Saturday's bout, which was the first boxing event held at Allegiant Stadium, also generated a gate of over $47 million, the largest in the history of that stadium and the third largest in boxing history, behind Floyd Money Mayweather against Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Money Mayweather against Conor McGregor. Those did 72 and 55 million, respectively.
So you're telling me that USA's Tuesday night fights that happened between 1982 of October to 98 did not generate that kind of money? Because we watched every Tuesday night fight. My dad loved them. And but no, they weren't generating that kind of money back then.
Not quite.
No.
Or that kind of viewership.
No, not at all. Man, that was the heyday of boxing, too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing that you're seeing that kind of. I've always enjoyed professional boxing more than MMA, more than the like you said, the side shows. I like the, especially Olympics boxing. To me, is fun to watch because you see some of the guys that are going to be good, and it's all technical. It's all about execution, which I find to be part of the sport that's very neat about boxing. There's rules to it. You got to stick to them.
Well, and within boxing itself, I mean, there's a big difference in watching a heavyweight fight and a welterweight fight.
Yeah. Those Tuesday night fights, man. Growing up, there'd be the little welterweights, and I would sit there and say, man, I'm bigger than those guys, Dad. And he's like, yeah, but they could hit you 100 times before you could hit them once.
Quick like a cat. Doubleheader last night in Monday Night Football. Buccaneers 20, Texans 19 in the first game. Bucs go to 2-0 on the year. Texans fall to 0-2. And in the evening game out in Vegas, quick turnaround. They got the boxing ring out of the middle of the arena on Saturday night so they could play Monday Night Football last night. But it didn't go so well for the Raiders. 3 field goals is all they could muster in the game. Chargers 20-9. Justin Herbert, pretty good. 19 of 27, 242 yards, and a couple of touchdowns in the ball game.
Geno with 3 picks, though. That never helps you, right?
That does not help. It was a pretty entertaining weekend in the NFL. Bengals went to 2-0 with a win over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Maybe the best game of the weekend, Giants-Cowboys, saw the Giants fall to 0-2 on the year, 40-37 in overtime. Dallas over New York. The Detroit Lions smoked the Bears 52-21, 5 touchdown passes for Jared Goff. The Los Angeles Rams 33-19 over the Titans. Matt Stafford threw for 298. Patriots beat the Dolphins down in South Florida Miami is 0-2, and the seat is starting to get uncomfortable for Mike McDaniel. 49ers 26-21 over the Saints. Mac Jones threw for 279 yards and 3 touchdowns, playing in place of Brock Purdy.
He looked good, too, man. I'll be honest. Matt looked really, really confident and refined, I should say.
I'm going to be honest, I forgot he was still in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, when I watched
it was so bad with the Jets, but I mean, everything about the Jets was bad.
Yeah, when you hear that on your name called for the Jets, it's like, oh, no. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, he looked great. And I'm like you, I forgot he was even playing still and looked great doing it. I was like, man, this dude's got a future.
Seahawks beat the Steelers 31-17. Ravens bounced back from their season-opening loss, and they thumped the Browns 41-17. Lamar Jackson throws for 225 yards and 4 touchdowns. Quinshon Judkins had 10 carries for the Browns in the ballgame. Colts by 1, 29-28 over the Broncos. Daniel Jones, the former New York Giant, now Indianapolis Colt quarterback, threw for 316 and a touchdown. Cardinals beat the Panthers 27-22. And the Chiefs are 0-2 after falling to the reigning Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles 20-17.
Yeah, the pass from Mahomes to Kelsey toward the end of that game where it was batted and then the interception, that was it right there, man. Mm-hmm. What a game, though, between those two teams. It was nip and tuck the whole way until that. One mistake. That's usually what does it.
Sunday Night Football, Falcons got the Vikings. So that was week 1 in the NFL. Looking ahead to the college games that are coming up this week. Again, this is your morning sports update brought to you by Pearl River Resort. As we go into week 4 of the college football season, if you are a college football fan, this is the first time this season that I am going to remind you, slow down and try to enjoy it. Because a quarter of the football season is already gone. That's kind of sobering, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, wait, we're already a quarter of the way through. There's so much to enjoy between now and the end of the year. But it goes in the blink of an eye, and we are a quarter of the way through already. Games this weekend involving top 25 teams in the Big 12. Maybe the best matchup of the weekend. Number 17, Texas Tech, at number 16, Utah. I don't know that we know a lot about either of these teams. They're both off to a 3-0 start. UAB is at number 15, Tennessee. Vols are 2-1. That game's at 11:45. Oregon State at Oregon. Boy, this is a rivalry game, but the Ducks are a 34.5-point favorite. Florida State hosts Kent State. Let me back up. I'm not going Texas Tech, Utah, best game of the day. Mm-mm. It might turn out to be, but the sexiest game of the day is number 22, Auburn, at number 11, Oklahoma, both 3-0. It's at 2:30 on ABC. Former Auburn quarterback Jackson Arnold. No, I'm sorry. I said that wrong. Current Auburn quarterback Jackson Arnold goes to the place where he was the starting quarterback a year ago in Oklahoma. It's going to be great. Great scene. Tulane's at number 13, Ole Miss. Number 21, Michigan at Nebraska. Purdue is at number 24, Notre Dame. Temple at number 18, Georgia Tech. Another one in the SEC, South Carolina at number 23. Missouri. Florida's at number 4, Miami. Top 20 matchup in the Big Ten. Number 9, Illinois at number 19, Indiana. Georgia State taking on 3-0 and 20th-ranked Vanderbilt. LSU hosts Southeastern Louisiana. Michigan State's at number 25, USC. Sam Houston is at number 8, Texas. Sam Houston coached by Phil Longo. C-Spire text line, I know you're an Ole Miss guy, but who's your NFL, Major League Baseball, and NBA teams? Not super passionate about professional sports. Giants, NFL, Giants, MLB, Yankees, NBA, don't care, but I guess the Grizzlies. We'll be right back.
From the Venable Glass Traffic.
Super Talk, Mississippi.
Good morning once again. It is Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi. We're streaming at supertalk.fm, and SuperTalk TV. Glad to be with you as well on your, of course, SuperTalk Mississippi radio stations. Alongside Lance Tolbert, I'm Richard Cross. Thanks for joining us. It's time for your Mississippi Lottery update. It's brought to you by the Mississippi Lottery. The Mega Millions jackpot has increased to a whopping $400 million for tonight's drawing, with an estimated cash option of $186.6 million. Excitement is building as the prize inches closer to the $500 million mark. Tickets are just $5 and come with an automatic multiplier that can boost non-jackpot prizes up to 5 times. Don't miss your chance. Get your ticket today at your nearest retailer. That's your update, brought to you by the Mississippi Lottery, mslottery.com. C-Spire text line 601-879-4395. I suppose that Piers Morgan is relevant somewhat at this point. You know, he was a UK guy, and then he came to the United States and found some fame and some fortune here, and then he kind of got pushed off TV here and went back to the to England. And, you know, whatever. But he hosts a talk show now, and he deals a lot in American politics on his UK talk show, and Cornel West was one of the guests. He has Jack Posobiec and, I don't know, a couple of others. But the whole thing's kind of a cesspool. I mean, they call it debate, but it's really not. Have you ever watched it, Lance, or clips of it?
I'm not a big fan of his, even when he was here. So, yeah, no, I don't watch it now.
Not great. But in the middle of debating and talking about the issues, Cornel West rips his earphones out, or his earbuds out. I can't do this, not talking about it anymore. And it was kind of illustrative of when somebody pushes back on the ideas that you don't like, you take your ball and you go home, as opposed to talking about it, talking it out. It's really, really easy to get under people's skin. CC says on the C-Spire text line, this is why you can't reason with liberals. They will not listen to reason. By the way, I said Mac Jones with the Jets earlier. It was with the Patriots.
Patriots?
Yeah. Which I should have remembered.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, I do remember that the Patriots took him. I guess I just kind of feel like the Patriots organization was run more like the Jets organization there for a little while. And it looked really, really bad on the field. Lance, I'm watching the Cards and the Brewers on Friday night. Who am I looking for?
The Brewers have been on fire the last couple of years. They're fun to watch, man. They really are.
Yeah.
I like the Brew Crew. I remember when they were in the AL years ago, and having the big glove up there, like in the stadium, that thing that they had, and then you had, there was like the old stadium. I'm trying to remember some of the nuances of it, but I loved them when they were in the AL. But as they've moved over, and then what do you have? Houston.
You talking about Milwaukee?
Yeah, they were AL a long time ago, and then Houston was in the NL, for a long time. So yeah, I was always a fan of both of those, Houston and Milwaukee. Then they flip flopped on me. So, but no, I'm more of a Chicago Cubs guy, and the Baltimore Ravens as far as baseball and football. Those are my two teams.
There you go.
But no, I mean, Paul was such a Cardinals fan, and every morning when we would start, he would be so upset with his Cardinals, man, because they were just tanking. And
Ashley tells us Mac Jones is with the 49ers. Yeah,
no, he's with the Niners
Ashley.
now.
That's why we were talking about previously, because I said previously with the Jets, and I just misspoke.
But yeah, I'm taking the Brew Crew on that.
Baseball standing is kind of fun right now. And we're at the end, right? 12 games roughly remaining for everybody, somewhere between 10 and 13, depending on who you're looking at. Jays with a 5-game lead over the Yankees. Yankees had tightened things up, but then they decided to go and lose 2 in a row. And the Jays have ripped off 5 wins in a row, and, it's kind of hard to tie it up then. Looked like it might have a sprint to the finish.
They're still, the Yankees are at 99% chance. Yeah. So they're looking good to get in, but they're going to
be in as a wild card team. It's going to be Yankees and Red Sox, most likely as the wild card team. Then you've got the Astros just half a game behind the Red Sox. Cleveland and Texas 3 back, not looking good for them. That's on the American League side. On the National League side, I mean, it's almost completely done. Cubs, Padres, Mets, those are your 3 wild card teams in the National League.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Atlanta, 22.5 back. There was so much promise at the beginning of the season, just didn't happen. Cardinals, 18.5. 3 years of terrible baseball, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me tell you what's coming up. We are going to visit with my friend Peter Costa, former governor with the New York Stock Exchange. Worked on Wall Street for a long, long time. We're going to talk about this Fed meeting that starts today and will last into tomorrow. What are they looking at? Are they going to lower the rate? And Peter wrote something yesterday that struck me as very, very interesting in his Costa's Corner newsletter, and that is beware of the AI bubble. You remember the .com bubble. Is there an AI bubble? We will explore that with Peter Costa coming up next. That's to start the 7 o'clock hour. This is Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi. Hope you'll stick around. Thanks for joining us.
Sunshine when she's gone, and this house just ain't no home. Anytime she goes away.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on this show are not the opinions of TeleSouth Communications, its management, or advertisers.
Coffee, conversations, and clarity. What a great way to start your Mississippi day. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk Mississippi.
Thanks for being with us. It is Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk Mississippi. Glad to have you along for the ride. This hour of the show brought to you by MWG Employer Services. Running a business is tough, and if you're struggling with HR, benefits, and payroll, you're not alone. That's where MWG Employer Services comes in. They can provide a full range of employer services plus a custom plan that fits you. Give them a call today, 601-206-7966. Or go to mwgemployerservices.com. My friend Peter Costa joins us right now, former Wall Street market analyst, stock trader, governor with the New York Stock Exchange, and more. Also television analyst on CNBC. Peter, good morning to you. I appreciate you spending a few minutes with us.
Oh, I'm glad to be here, Richard. You know, it's a tough Tuesday, especially since you're wearing your Ole Miss golf hat and I'm not wearing my University of Tennessee paraphernalia. You know, we move on.
Yeah, that was a tough one. I think Tennessee's a good football team. I really do think. I think they're a good football team.
I think they're better than I originally had thought they were because I didn't think they were going to have a shot against Georgia, only because, number one, Georgia has their number. It doesn't matter where they play.
Yeah.
And I think the last 5 or 6 games, they've won by at least 18 points. So their offense looked good. I mean, the defense gave up a lot of yards, and, you know, when they had to make stops, they didn't. But, you know, they'll get it figured out. I think, you know, he's a very good coach. I mean, you know, he's not Lane Kifflin, but, sorry. Anytime that comes out of my mouth, I get a little, you know, it didn't end while I was here.
I understand, but there are a lot of Tennessee fans that would be more than happy to try round 2 and see if it went any better. But
okay,
you know, we would have a lot of fun talking about this for a long time. But I do think there might be some other things that we should jump to, like this Fed meeting that is happening today and tomorrow. You've talked to us a little bit about the Fed. We know that there is a dual role there. Make sure that inflation stays down and people are employed. And they're supposed to do both of those things at the same time, and sometimes those things are a little bit at opposition to each other in terms of rate adjustments and what makes the most sense with policy that they put forth. Look into your crystal ball for us and tell us what's going to happen today and tomorrow, and then we'll get to some of the sideshow stuff as well.
Well, I think that they're almost they back themselves into a corner for some sort of rate cut today. I personally think that it would be in the best interest of everyone. And I'm not just because, I think that President Trump is right about this, but I think that if they did a 50 basis point cut, it would have a huge impact on the economy, and it would have a huge impact on the markets, obviously. But I don't think you're going to see that. I think it's going to be a 25 basis point cut. I don't think there's that much of an argument anymore after looking at, seeing some of the numbers that have come in and some of the numbers that the Fed actually follows. It just seems like they're ready to make that move. And I also think that if nothing really changes and the economy, it's not doing terrible, but it's not doing great. And I think that the jobs numbers are really what pushes the Fed along, because I do think they're getting somewhat of a handle. I mean, inflation's come down a lot. It still needs to come down a little bit more, according to them. Me, personally, I think 2.5% to 3%, I think is very livable, because I think that the economy's expanded. There's an expansion in economies during that period. But, they're in a corner now. I think they're going to make a cut. I don't think it's going to be a big one. But I do think one of the things that they will say is that there's a possibility of 2 more cuts by the end of the year, which I think is very impactful.
You think 2 more before the end of the year?
2 more. I think there's going to be 3 cuts this year. I think originally they had said that there might be 3 cuts during the year, and then they weren't doing anything. But I think as the job numbers get weaker and the economy looks like it's softening a little bit, I think they're going to be leaning a little bit towards the more aggressive side, which is very unusual for this Fed board. But I do think we're going to see that. I don't think we're going to see kind of improvement in the job in October, November, and December. I think there's definitely going to be a cut. So
okay, we'll see what that looks like. Within the makeup of Jerome Powell has been made the scapegoat. He has been the target for Donald Trump. Get him out, get him out, get him out. But I think we forget sometimes that there are a dozen governors on this federal board, and they vote on rate cut, no rate cut. How much of what the chairman says influences the way the board votes versus, no, they're going to do what they want regardless of what the chairman recommends or doesn't recommend?
Well, I think he has a lot of sway, but there are certain members in that group of 12. I think there are certain members that will go their own way, regardless of what the chairman says. But for the most part, I believe that they do follow his lead. He is a lightning rod, obviously, but then that's part of the job. You're the head of a institution, especially one that's as important as the Fed. You're going to get there's going to be a lot of commentary regarding the moves. And, coming from the president, that's significant, but from the industry as well. I mean, there's been a lot of calls for not so much Jerome Powell being removed, but there's been a lot of calls for him to be more aggressive as far as interest rates are concerned. I think it's a little self-serving, because a lot of the people or the economists that are calling for that would benefit, their companies would benefit with lower interest rates. But the reality is, he's going to be that the people are going to point a finger at him no matter what. If he cuts rates and he cuts it too aggressively, they're going to point a finger at him. It's not really you're not in a win-win situation as the chairman of the Federal Open Markets Committee. And there are a couple of members in there that are very strongly want a rate cut. I mean, it's been pretty apparent. They've been out on the road talking about it. So, and that's unusual. You don't really see a lot of division. Usually, these guys all to the.
Yeah, the Fed board seems to, and probably it's probably a poor vision of that board, but it has historically felt kind of apolitical. Like, they kind of do their thing, and they really kind of do their thing in quiet unless you're really paying attention, like you're on Wall Street or you're hanging on every jobs report. You're not necessarily paying that much attention to what they do, but like everything else, it feels like it has been politicized. There have been a lot of calls in multiple areas for Donald Trump to stay in his lane, right? You stay in Washington, D.C., you be the president, and you do the thing that presidents are supposed to do. And he's like, no, I'm going to intervene in cities, and we're going to send the National Guard because you're not fixing your crime. And now he's saying, seemingly, you're not doing a good job handling the Fed. We need to get the economy going, and so he's trying to intervene there. How big of a problem is it in your mind to have a president intervening in the Fed? Because there are a lot of people that said this cannot operate under political pressure.
Well, I think it can't. I think it should be completely wholly independent. Every Fed governor, is different. But they do, like I said, they do march to the same tune pretty much during the year because they're all looking at the same data. And they all have the same opinions about that data. So they're kind of in lockstep. But to have political pressure, to me, this is one institution that should not have any political pressure from Washington. I think it should be wholly independent. It has been. I know some other, Federal Reserves and or federal banking institutions in other countries are very much tied up with the administration in charge. I do know that, and it works as well too. But in the United States, I don't think we should have that. I think it was set up originally to be an independent institution. I think it should remain that way. The president can appoint, when governors do something egregious and they are removed, he can appoint new governors, which is fine. It's like the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is completely independent of the White House, but the majority of the Supreme Court was.
Well, and then we've got a question about this. You're breaking up just for a second. We're going to hang through the break and talk a little bit more with Peter Costa about something that he wrote about yesterday, the AI bubble, and whether or not that is a real thing. Talking about appointees, President Trump tried to do the opposite, which is get Lisa Cook out, a governor that he doesn't agree with on the Fed board. But when we come back, we will first ask Peter this question that we get on the C Spire text line. I hear what you're talking about. How does the Fed rate affect our daily lives? We'll ask Peter that when we come back. It's Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
From the Venable Glass Traffic,
Mississippi.
I'm a hard-working man. I wear a steel hard hat. I can ride rope, a hammer and paint.
Great to be with you on this Tuesday morning, the 16th of September, 2025. Peter Costa is my guest, market analyst, formerly with CNBC, former governor of the New York Stock Exchange. Now he just writes a little bit for a living, props his feet up, hangs out on Long Island, got that cool breeze with a great cup of coffee this morning. Life's good, right, Peter?
Yep. It doesn't suck, I could say that.
There you go. All right, so I threw the question out before the break. How does this affect us? Like Fed rate, we hear about it. It sounds like a bunch of high finance gobbledygook sometimes. What actual effect does it have on somebody going to the grocery store, buying a house, trying to figure out whether or not they're going to buy a new car?
Well, directly, it takes a little bit of time for a rate cut to impact you because there's a lot of things that it does. Number one, it reduces the cost of borrowing operations, which, money spent paying off debt is used for expanding factories, hiring new workers, so on and so forth. So the reality of the situation is when the rates are low, corporations can borrow at a much cheaper rate from banks, and they can use that money to invest in their own businesses. All right. As far as Main Street's concerned, you would think that, credit card rates would become a little bit lower because, the money that the banks are being charged for borrowing that money from the federal government, which they loan to you in a credit card, you would think the interest rates on a credit card would come down, but they really don't, because banks, I think, are a little egregious about how they charge as far as the interest rate they charge. The the other thing is mortgage rates. I mean, mortgage rates with lower interest rates at a cheaper rate, they can loan out at it. So that's the direct impact, you would think.
Hey,
right?
you broke up just a second.
Right,
you broke up just for a second.
Okay.
Say that about mortgage rates one more time.
Well, mortgage rates should be the first thing and the biggest thing with lower interest rates, because banks borrow money from the federal government to loan you to buy a house. All right. I mean, it's a lot more complicated than that, but
sure.
The way to look at it directly is they're getting the money from the federal government and they're going to loan it to you with profit. I mean, if they borrow the federal government at 3%, they want to make at least 5% profit or 4% profit. There's your interest rates at 7%. As interest rates come down from the federal government or from the Federal Reserve, banks can loan that money at a cheaper rate. This is the way it's supposed to work. I don't think it necessarily works that effectively, but the idea is that if you, if you're a bank and you're borrowing money and you're going to lend it out, you have to make a profit. It costs money to run the business, but you're going to loan it out at a lower rate. That helps mortgage rates. The credit card thing, I think you could put credit card, the interest rates at 0 and still have 18% credit card rate. So I don't think it really impacts credit cards.
I actually want to ask you about that. There was one point early in this administration, maybe even during the campaign season, where Donald Trump talked about trying to put a cap on credit card interest rates, and it caused some people to perk up. I mean, obviously that's not something that banks want. It's an incredible profit center for them. But these are, banks under the guise of credit cards have kind of become like payday lenders in terms of the interest rates that they are charging. In some cases, you mentioned 18%. There are cases where you see 29% or 34% in terms of the interest on the money borrowed on credit cards. Is it a bad idea for the president or the federal or the legislature to look in and go, hey, this needs to stop at 9% or 11% or whatever the number is?
Well, one of the things that, I think that they should do that. And I know some states do have a cap on credit card rates. I do know that. I mean, if you look at your statement, there are, in the small print, there are caveats in there that will say that, like, I'm using Utah as an example, but Utah maybe has a 22% cap on interest rates. That I think is a good idea. And I think the bank news is that delinquencies cost a lot of money. For the last, I'd say the last 3 administrations, delinquencies, they are going up now, haven't been going up for a very long time. So the bank's excuse is that the money is not just the money they borrow from the federal government, it's also the amount of money they lose delinquencies and credit card fraud. I mean, I was in business and we lost money on certain, it's the cost of doing business. And I think that, I do think that banks are egregious as far as the rates that they charge. I think that's something, if the president wanted to address that, I would be 100% behind it. I don't think 9% is a good point because, if you're borrowing money at 2.5%, 9%, it doesn't give them a lot of leverage. But I think that, 13 or 14%, I think could be an effective cap, and I would be 100% behind it. I really would.
Yeah. You wrote yesterday in the Costa's Corner newsletter. You can get that, by the way. Just Google Peter Costa newsletter, and you will see a link to his Substack. You can pop your email address in, and you can get that into your inbox a couple of times a week. Sometimes it's really good. Sometimes you just delete it and you move on because it's not an interesting topic to you. But Peter admits in yesterday's newsletter that he does the exact same thing with newsletters that he gets. So if the topic interests you, check it out. This one yesterday certainly interests me, the idea of an AI bubble. There is untold amounts of money that is being pumped in to the AI space right now. And there's growth all over the place. Sometimes it's scary growth. You talked a little bit about some similarities to the .com bubble. Is this a bubble that is going to burst at some point into the future, or is this good investment?
No, I think that we are getting, or we're probably already in that bubble. I mean, looking at a company like NVIDIA, they have a great business model. They pretty much dominate the market in their particular space. But is the company worth $4.3 trillion? I don't know. I don't think so. And Broadcom is another one that's, $1.5 trillion. It's a great company and they have great products and they are profitable. But if you look at the PE yields on these companies, they are getting to the point of being overpriced. You're looking at a company that has a PE of 93. To me, that's just telling you that stock is probably 6 months or a year ahead of itself. So, you don't want to be investing in something like that because when somebody pulls that Jenga tower down of AI, there's going to be a lot of destruction, and it's not going to be all private equity, which I think I mentioned in my article yesterday that Henry Blodgett, who I like very much, wrote an article about that. That's what prompted me to write my article. He had mentioned in that this won't be as impactful on the individual investor, and I disagree because I think that when private equity firms, which are the bulk of the investors in these companies, when they suffer major losses, they have to make up those losses because they have investors that are looking to redeem shares in those investments, and if they don't have the money, they have to sell other products. And a lot of those other products are stocks. So, first thing is going to get hurt, but then as an investor gets crushed as well. So we're probably getting very, very close to it, that bubble bursting. Usually it takes an event that will start that flood of money coming out. I don't know when that's going to be. I can't. There's no way of timing it, but I think that we are in everything I think is priced. I think most of these companies are overpriced. I think, the good thing though, Richard, after you have one of these destructive periods, the companies that come out of it usually do really, really well. If you look at what happened in the dot-com bubble, Amazon got crushed. I think the stock traded down to like $3. And it's been a very good investment from 2000. Microsoft, I think is going to, but I think Microsoft has got such a great business model that, their portion of their business for, dedicated to AI is getting bigger and bigger, but they have a great business. So I think they'll come out of it on, not unscathed, but, they'll be okay. There are some companies that won't exist. And that's the thing that scares you. That's what happened with the dot-com bubble. A company like Pet.com, billions of dollars went into this company with a great idea, and they just couldn't produce profits. And when the dot-com bubble happened and broke, that company disappeared. And a lot of companies disappeared after that period. But, the internet is still... it still exists, and I think that AI will exist. I'm not 100% sold that it's the greatest thing. It's going to be that, it's going to be similar to the internet. I really don't think so. I think that it's going to be very helpful. I think there's going to be a lot of advances in it, and it's just going to be another tool out there that we can use at some point.
Peter, always appreciate your time. Great visit. A lot to digest with those insights. We'll talk soon, my friend.
Thank you, Richard.
Peter Costa was a market analyst with CNBC, former governor with the New York Stock Exchange. We'll take a time out. We're back with you after this. It's Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Curious, genuine question for you. C-Spire text line open, 601-879-4395. 601-879-4395. So much going on. And C-Spire helps you kind of make sense of the madness. Are you ready for your winning strategy? Here it is. Join C Spire. All the technology and support you need to succeed at home, at work, and everywhere else. Visit cspire.com today. C Spire, inspired by you. When you are scrolling through the carefully curated algorithm that is your phone, scrolling through X, scrolling through Instagram, scrolling through Facebook, checking out news stories on whatever website you go to, genuinely curious. Are you having trouble accepting what you read at face value? I think because I clicked on a story on X yesterday, Lance, that was exploring an alternate explanation for Charlie Kirk's murder. I got thrown into the conspiracy theory algorithm.
Yeah.
Because story after story after story after story are saying, no, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't add up. You know, it was a 30-06 bolt-action rifle with a scope, and we've got video of him with it in the leg of his pants, and he's limping along, but then we see him jump off the roof. And that's not the type gun that you can quickly disassemble and put in your backpack and jump off the roof. But when the gun was found in the woods, wrapped in a towel, it was reassembled. How did the gun get to the ground? Where was the gun when the kid was running away?
Did he have his blankie with him? I mean, there are a lot of questions.
But hold on a second. Now, so that's the point that I'm making in this. I don't have all the answers. I have questions. And there are things that these conspiracy theories raise that don't make sense. But I'm also not to the point, I certainly don't want to be to the point where I believe that every single thing that happens that's bad is deep state or is an undercover operation by forces within the FBI or the HRT. Or go to what Walter in Tupelo says, Candace Owens saying, this is an Israeli operation because Charlie Kirk wasn't good enough to the Jews.
Well, I mean, in the absence of truth, you're always going to have speculation. You know,
yes. But, I mean, there are things, right? You've got TMZ taking timestamps of different videos and going, hey, this doesn't add up. He was here at 11:29, but this happened over here at 12:19. It doesn't make sense that he could have gotten from there to here with that gun in position without being seen on the roof to take the shot. Okay?
Well, you get things...
And then we got this guy that you zoom in on in the front row of the crowd. They're saying he had a palm gun.
Yeah.
And he's adjusting his sleeve just a millimeter, and it's kind of an odd-looking motion. And then there's the guy in the white baseball cap. They're like, well, what is he signaling? He's not a third base coach giving a steal sign, so who's he talking to? And then you've got the police officer that comes up to the security guard, and they shake hands, and they hand something off. And, all of this stuff that happened, and then, oh, by the way... maybe the most unsecure crime scene in the history of the world. You have Charlie Kirk's people, allegedly Charlie Kirk's people, 5 minutes after the shooting happens. The green space is cleared out. Everybody's running for cover. They're scared to death. Charlie's being rushed to the hospital. There aren't that many of them there in the first place. And somebody jumps up in the middle of the crime scene where you've got blood splattered all over. Nobody's had a chance to inspect the crime scene yet. And they start taking down the camera that was hanging behind Charlie Kirk's head and pointed out at the audience for streaming purposes. They start taking it down. We might as well pack this stuff up. What are we waiting on? Let's go ahead and get out of here. No! You can't do that. that video camera was shooting directly out into the crowd. Now, I'm assuming that the video footage is archived and is available. So, I don't know what to do with all of that. And I guess that's the point that I'm making in this when I ask you the question, are you having trouble consuming all this and understanding what to believe?
Well, with Ruth and Crooks and this guy, there's a lot of things that don't add up in any of those events. You're not going to get all the facts. It's just not the way it works anymore. And not that it ever did, really. I mean, we're still talking about the Zapruder film with the JFK assassination. Was there one or many gunmen? Well, that was in the 60s. And this will be the same way.
Yeah.
You'll never get to the bottom of it because you're not supposed to. I mean, that's just the way it is. There's certain things that are going to be palatable for the public, and I can assure you there's probably a lot more that goes on behind the scenes with something like this, with who's involved and all that. The speculation will run wild because the truth will not come out.
That's right. And so CC says none of that chases the fact that Charlie Kirk was assassinated and wicked liberals are celebrating. No, you're right.
Yeah.
You're 100%. You are right about that. There are people that are celebrating the death of a father, a husband, a young man with a bright, bright future, and yet liberals are like, oh, the things that he said were so vile. Some of the things that you say are vile. They are, I believe, from the far left. Like when you say it is. So what are you mad about Charlie Kirk for? Like what did Charlie Kirk say that is so vile that you are so angry about? Is it the fact that he disagreed with abortion? He was against abortion? Well, I think it's vile that there are people who think that late-term abortions are okay. I think it's vile and disgusting, and it causes my stomach to turn. I don't agree with everything Charlie Kirk said. I don't agree with everything that Donald Trump says. Try to be an independent thinker with a moral compass that hopefully is anchored in my faith and my belief in what the Bible teaches, like all of those things. Thomas says, and I agree with this, and we have to consider AI video. Yeah. Absolutely, you have to consider AI video.
And as far as fabricating, or I mean, is that what he's referring to? I guess is that it would not be accurate.
Yeah. When you have artificial, I mean, like if somebody wants to promote a conspiracy theory, and they're tech savvy enough, they can absolutely manipulate the video that we've got with timestamps and images and whatever else to make it tell the story that they want it to tell.
Half of this stuff out there or more is garbage. If you get into the conspiracy, feeds, it's garbage. It is a clickbait, is what it is. And so, I mean, again, I don't know how you answer these things because we're all curious. We all want to know the truth, and the truth is going to be very hard to get. Especially as you and Thomas just made that point where you don't know what's accurate. You don't know what's real. And if you're trusting YouTube videos and a bunch of junk, you're going to be led down every rabbit hole possible, and there's never going to be an answer. The reality is, again, he was murdered by an assassin. We know who that guy is, and at this point, that's enough. There will be more, maybe there won't. But some of these questions, they're likely never going to be answered.
But here's the thing. How do you want to go through life? Do you want to go through life where you don't trust anything, you don't trust anybody, you don't trust the government, you don't trust law enforcement? That's a really tough way to go through life. And I know many of you are that way. Like, Thomas, you don't even have to respond, pal. Thomas, I do not need a message from you on the C-Spire text line telling me that you don't trust anybody. I know you don't trust anybody, and you don't believe anything, and it's never going to be conservative enough for you. And I'm not mad at you for that. I'm not. I appreciate the engagement. I appreciate your position. I appreciate how grounded you are in what you believe. But I would argue that generally speaking, that's a hard way to go through life, where you don't trust anybody. Where you don't trust. If you don't trust anybody, why are you banging the drum so hard for a Republican president? Well, I get it. I understand. Like, you think that's the lesser evil, and the policies are going to be better, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But if you don't trust the president, if you don't trust the director of the CIA, if you don't trust the director of the FBI, if you don't trust local law enforcement, if you think everything's a conspiracy, how do you go through life? Somebody says ignorance is bliss. You know, maybe you just need to call our friends at David Fisher Land Company and find a piece of land and get off the grid. We're back with you right after that.
From the Venable Glass News.
You know, last Thursday, the day after Charlie Kirk was shot, and you went through all the emotions of Wednesday, right? The anger, the fear, the frustration, the introspection. And you know what kept running through my mind Thursday all day long was, I just need to get away for a minute. Not like I needed to go on a vacation. I needed quiet. You're going to laugh at me. I needed to get on a tractor. For me, Lance, it's the spot where I can think.
Yeah.
I can unplug. If I'm in a rough terrain, the only thing that I'm focused in is don't turn this tractor over, don't flip this bush hog. That'd be a bad way to go.
Yeah. Tractoring is very therapeutic.
It is unbelievably therapeutic, and it made me think about David Fisher Land Company.
Yeah.
Because if you want to have a place where you can get on a tractor when the poop hits the fan all around you and you just need to get away for a minute, David Fisher Land Company can help. They've been in the land, I'm just going to say the land business. The land business, land financing, land refinancing, land selling, land appraisal, all of that for a little over 40 years. Headquartered in Inverness, heart of the Mississippi Delta. By the way, I am not the only person that gets on a tractor with a bush hog connected to it to disconnect. There are a lot of people out there nodding their head this morning. In fact, I just got a text message from said, tractor therapy is my therapy too. I'm telling you, there is something about it that is incredible.
Yeah, just getting out on your land, or even zero turn, getting in the yard.
That's right.
You know, we talk about it every Saturday. You know, get outside, get some sun, decompress. I mean, I had to Saturday night, man. I hopped on the side-by-side, rode 5 miles up to 61. And
so whether you're looking for 100 acres or several thousand acres, or maybe an equity share in a hunting club from DeSoto County to the South Delta, David Fisher Land Company is ready to earn your business. They've got customers all over the Southeast. If you got a property you want to sell, they are there for that as well. Not going to give you their phone number. Let me just give you their website, davidfisherland.com, davidfisherland.com. Reach out to David, Jack, or Travis. They'd love to help with your land needs. Do us a favor. Tell them you heard about them right here on SuperTalk, Mississippi. David Fisher Land Company. There are some specific listings right now. You still got time to buy, get all the paperwork done, get to the closing, and have a place of your own before deer season, at least before rifle season. Check out their website, davidfisherland.com. C Spire text line 601-879-4395. Stephen Pontotoc, I'm hearing a lot of stuff on the assassination, but haven't heard anything about recovering the bullet for ballistic analysis.
Well, I mean, as you said, they broke down everything pretty quick, so I mean, I'm like you. That was a little odd, but
I mean, we got the unfired bullets with the inscriptions. Mm-hmm. We've got shell casings on the roof, right? But we're still looking for ballistics at the spot where he was killed. I mean, if he shot a 30-06 bullet, and that's what hit him, and either, I mean, there are people that are like it feels like it's pretty commonly accepted now that was not a direct neck shot, that it was a ricochet off a chest plate. I don't know that I've heard anybody official say that, but that appears to be what happened. There were too many people with... Okay, so if we're going to debunk conspiracy theories, and I don't even know that we're calling them conspiracy theories at this point, alternate theories, people saying, hey, this doesn't all add up. 3,000 college students at an event, a lot of them, maybe most of them, had cell phones out. Many of which were rolling at the time the shot happened. Why do we not have more video from the event live, knowing how many cell phones were going? And if it wasn't someone who shot from a rooftop 200 yards away and made their escape and all of those things, then wouldn't we have video that would have audio with it that would tell us more clearly that, hey, this is a shot that came from the front row, or this is a shot that came from 30 rows back, or from a different direction? The bottom line is we don't have access to all the evidence that the FBI and HRT and local police department and all of those people are involved with. We get a message here, C-Spire text line, definitively, he wasn't wearing a chest plate. How do you know that? How do you definitively know that to say it with, like, no ambiguity at all? I don't know if he was or wasn't, but I can't definitively say that. Maybe you're privy to better information than I am.
Check this out. Now, what can be offered to you? Mornings with Richard Cross. Information. SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Good to be with you. Welcome to the 8 o'clock hour of Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi. Streaming at supertalk.fm, SuperTalk TV on your SuperTalk Mississippi radio stations. You can download it as a podcast. You can use the app, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of ways. Trying to make it as easy as possible for you to consume your favorite SuperTalk Mississippi radio programs. We are glad to have you along for the ride this morning, and we're going to start this 8 o'clock hour off with a guest. Richard Greenlee joins me to start things off. He is owner and promoter with Wratchet Entertainment Group. Richard, good morning to you.
Good morning, Richard. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. Appreciate some of your time. So we're talking about concerts that are happening in Oxford on Friday nights this fall, and I guess concerts that coincide with home football games. Is that right?
That's correct. Concerts, parties, events. They're more of a party and event, but yeah, they're musically based concerts.
All right, so give us the rundown. What are we talking about here? How'd the idea come about? What's going on?
Well, I'll tell you, and I'll just be honest, and there's an age group in Oxford that really, don't want to fight the bars and be elbow to elbow, stand in line and get in. It's fun, but they just want a good time. And so I started doing the Molly Ringwalds about 3 years ago. I just tried it on one Friday night. It sold out. Last year I did the Molly Ringwalds, another show. It sold out. So this year we've got three different events, three different venues that are catered to football Friday nights, give people something to do, a guaranteed spot to get on the square and not fight elbow to elbow for a spot at the bar. So it's got 3 different nights and 3 events this year. All
right, and that gets started this weekend, right?
Yeah, our first one is this Friday night at the Powerhouse. It's called Freedom Fest 6. It started out as a private party years ago at Roosters that a buddy of mine, John Green, and I do, and Jeff Kimball up there every year. But this year we've got a band called Walrus. They're an 80s and 90s kind of radio rock band. A guy named Dan Shoemake, who actually went to Ole Miss, has got some bands, an old band called Ocean to Goshen and Grandma's Attic came together and formed a an 80s kind of radio rock band, In Excess, The Cure, The Kinks, U2, Bowie. That's Friday night, September 19th at the Powerhouse for Tulane game.
All right, so that's this coming Friday night, and that's so we're talking early 90s, mid 90s rock primarily, right? In terms of like the 80s, music
90s,
subset.
Some of those. Go ahead.
No. I was just saying in terms of kind of the sample of the music that you're going to get for this week.
Yeah, it's right. 80s, 90s radio rock. It's not, it's not really the hair bands, but it's radio rock. It's great. And there's another band called Highland Sundays, which is a couple friends of mine, David Bridgers and Paige Yost, have a band up in Oxford called Highland Sundays. They're opening up for Walrus on Friday night at the Powerhouse. You can doors up at 6:30. First band's at 7. Walrus starts at 9.
All right, so that's the first act, and then the Friday night before the Ole Miss LSU game. So that would be Friday the 26th. That's going to be that's a big weekend, and you're moving to the Lyric for that one, right?
That is correct. We've got the Lyric, and we wanted to try something different this year. Everybody likes a good party or wedding, so I went out of Atlanta and got a corporate 9-piece, a big party funk band, a 9-piece, 3 horns, 3 lead singers, full band. It'll be at the Lyric Friday night, September 26th. There's a VIP and a GA section. Upstairs VIP, a friend of mine, Stephen Pillow, will be playing guitar for an hour beforehand and have very heavy hors d'oeuvres, so you can make an evening out of it without having to go have to dinner. But there are VIP tickets upstairs and GA downstairs. The band's called 5 Star Funk Lounge out of Atlanta.
So this is like your big band, wedding band type deal where great dance music, and you probably know the words to most of the songs, and their repertoire is going to be pretty classic, right?
Yeah, well, and I wanted, there's a bunch of wedding bands. They're all kind of the big ones are all the musicians switch between bands, and I said I need something that could play some Motown, but I want Beyonce and Bruno Mars too. So they're bringing the funk. You'll know every word. You can't stand still. It's just a big party. So we've got fun.
And then the final of this 3-concert series. Give us the date, because you are going full on 80s band, the stuff that so many people that are in my age group remember from college. Oh, you go and hear the 80s band. It's the Molly Ringwalds once again.
Yeah, you can. It's our 3rd annual event up there with them. It's Halloween night, October 31st, prior to the South Carolina game. It's a costume-friendly event. So it's going to be mad on the square that night. And so that sells out every year. Again, I have VIP upstairs, limited, and GA downstairs. So it's a full night of Molly Ringwalds. There's no opener. They take the stage at 8:30 and play till 11:30. So they go for a while.
All right, so Richard, what is this in conjunction with the university? Is this a standalone deal? Is this just kind of the business that you're in, and you say, "Hey, I see an opportunity. Let's go take advantage of it"? Give us the lowdown.
Yeah, it is a standalone deal. I worked with the university before and talked with them quite a bit about some things, and still hopeful there. But this is a standalone thing. Wratchet Entertainment. That's what I do, is produce music, and I keep getting. I'm 56 years old, so I keep getting all my friends to go, can we just have a party? Can we just not fight the square or go to the dinner to the same place I've been 100 times and have to get a reservation January 4? I just want a party. I want some heavy hors d'oeuvres. So I don't have to go eat if I want to. And I just want all my friends. So it's like a big party. Yes, it's the bands. Yes, it's the Mollies. Yes, it's Walrus. But it's just a big fun party with no elbow to elbow. I limit capacity. I don't pack the Lyric out like they usually do. 1,100 people. It's limited. So it's that's kind of what I do. Now, we are going to work with the Grove Collective. We're doing something. I just finalized that with Walker last night. We're going to do a special Grove Collective ticket with either a rebate to the ticket holder or a donation to the Grove Collective. We got to finalize that today, but we're going to move forward working with them. But I just finalized that last night.
I'm curious how your business has changed, the concert promotion business, because we know that there are some really, really big players in that space in terms of concert promoters. I guess Live Nation is probably at the top of the heap, and they're this 900-pound gorilla that nobody can fight. But concert promotion, there are a lot of different levels to that. How has it changed? How's what you do changed over the last, decade?
Well, COVID did one thing. Again, that's a big change that happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Live Nation is the 800 Gorilla, and they have a lot of hands in a lot of venues, buy tours, manage artists, control ticketing with Ticketmaster, some others. So they are the 800-pound gorilla that kind of they have their will and their way. So it's tougher for a small promoter like me to find good acts. Or find venues to play in. Most everything's owned and managed by Live Nation, and there are others, AEG, Messina, but Live Nation is they're big for a reason.
Yeah, is the live music scene healthy right now?
It's very healthy. For a while, in my opinion, after COVID happened, you've got all these artists and all these venue owners that sat on the sidelines and weren't getting paid, weren't making money, so. There was a venue bailout act that happened that Congressman passed that bailed out most of these small and local promoters that got quite a bit of cash they were sitting on. And so you had the industry star for 2 years and demand was building for 2 years. So a lot of stupid money got thrown at bands. People had a lot of excess money, said, I hadn't had a concert or promotion in years. And so, in my opinion, prices for bands have gotten really, really expensive, more so than they have been in the past. I think that's going to adjust out at some point. I think you're seeing demand slow right now. That's why you're seeing a lot of people giving away tickets and not selling out their houses and tours counseling. I think we got ahead of the curve. I think it's going to get back to equilibrium here pretty soon. That makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It absolutely does. And then the last thing that fascinates me about your industry in particular, and that's just prices. I mean, anybody that has gone to I'm not talking about a local show in a smaller venue, but I don't think those are immune from them. But if you've gone to a big stadium concert or an arena concert for a popular act, I mean, it's like you've got to sell a kidney to be able to afford tickets. And usually it's tickets that are being sold on the secondary market, and they're just massive markups. How much concern within the industry is there about just out-of-whack ticket prices? Because the flip side of it is, I still see all those seats full for big acts in those big arenas when people are paying, sometimes north of $1,000 for a single ticket.
Yeah, and that's it's a two-edged sword here, is because one hand, at the end of the day, it's about economics, supply and demand, the rule of equilibrium. If somebody will pay $1,000 and sell $1,000, is that fair to everybody who's a good, hardworking fan? Yes and no. But you're right about the prices. Two factors in that. One is, everything's expensive. There are so many middle managers and agents and booking agents and publicists. So it's 25, 30 years ago, artists made their money on album sales. Now with basically free music and online, you have to make your money in the live music business. And there's everybody involved in that production. So everybody's got to get paid. So first of all, it's just a lot more expensive to be an artist and go produce, be on the road, 100, 200 days a year with the entire crew. And secondly is, tickets and scalpers and seven-day market even make it worse.
Interesting conversation. The concert series coming up gets started Freedom Fest 6 at the Powerhouse this Friday night. You can buy tickets online at OleMissConcerts.com. Richard Greenlee, thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
We'll take a time out. We've got more coming up with you. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi. We're back right after this.
From the Venable Glass.
Born August 18th, 1936, died this morning. Charles Robert Redford Jr. passed away.
Oh, man. The Natural.
Yeah. The Natural. What a talent.
Was it The Night of the Condor? Excellent movie. All the President's Men. The Natural, though, has to be one at the top of the list. If you're a baseball fan. What a story.
I was trying to pull up the full filmography. This is one of those where you're going to be like, man, that is quite the run that he had. And he played the A River Runs Through It.
I forgot almost. Yeah, totally.
He directed Quiz Show. You remember Quiz Show?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, you talking about Ray Fiennes?
Yeah.
Jeremiah Johnson, thank you. There's too many. Like, I own Jeremiah Johnson. I haven't seen it but 4,000 times. Grew up on that one.
Yeah.
And my dad always, you want to be a mountain man, boy. And so Jeremiah Johnson was the epitome of that.
Yeah.
And then is there a better GIF or a GIF, whatever you call him, than Robert Redford turning his head and smiling and shaking it like.
Well, that's what I was trying to remember. That was from
Jeremiah Johnson.
Okay.
Yeah, and then Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, another great one.
Yeah. Passed away, though.
Oh, Spy Game. Don't forget about that one.
Was in The Great Gatsby?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
You start pulling up the filmography.
Wow.
I mean, it is so long.
It goes back, 50 years, roughly?
1972 in The Candidate.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what a good movie, too. I forgot about that. I just watched it on Tubi. Had to be a month ago. It's one I wasn't very familiar with.
So he was the producer of A River Runs Through It and Quiz Show. He kind of slid into that executive producer, director role later in his career.
Don't forget Indecent Proposal. That was Woody and
that was one, wasn't it? Mm. So James in Oxford says The Sting.
Yeah.
Sneakers.
Sneakers is a good one. Yeah.
Great Gatsby. Yeah.
89.
Yeah. And one of those examples of, you can appreciate somebody's work without necessarily aligning with the things that they believe. I mean, he was activist guy, but kind of seemed to be liked by everybody. He's one of the founders of Sundance, the movie festival that happens in Idaho. Big deal. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. We didn't mention that one, did we?
Yeah, we popped it up there a minute ago.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Died in his home in the mountains of Utah, the place that he loved, surrounded by those he loved, greatly missed, family requesting privacy. Best known as a go-to leading man of the late 60s and 70s, instantly recognizable for his wind-swept hair and widely beloved for his easy charisma. An accomplished filmmaker as well. And a lot of good stuff. I mean, you right now are just naming movie after movie after film after film after film that he was involved with. And there certainly are a bunch of them. So, boy, time undefeated when you look at the more recent pictures of Robert Redford, and it's like you have a certain image in your mind of him, what he was, what he looked like, and you just feel like he's one of those guys that's going to look exactly the same forever, and then you see a picture of him later, and you're like, man, Father Time is undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
Undefeated. Passed away at the age of 89. Did you hear about this deal from the Emmys? I did not watch the Emmys the other night, but Nate Bargatze, the comedian who, by all accounts, is just a good guy. It seems like, at least for now, he's one of those people that folks have hard saying bad things about because he's just a good dude. He's funny. He's not crude. Husband, dad, the whole thing. So the biggest winner from the Emmys on Sunday night may be the Boys and Girls Club of America. Why is that, you ask? So Nate Bargatze, in trying to be funny, early in the show brought some young people from the Boys and Girls Clubs on stage and said to the entire audience that he would donate $100,000 to the organization, to the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. But there was a twist. He would deduct $1,000 from that donation for every second that an acceptance speech exceeded the allotted time, and he would add $1,000 to the donation for every second that went under the allotted speech time limit. You know how these things go. You have like one person who gets on stage and is like, "Thank you, this is incredible, have a great night." All right, well, he just got in Nate Bargatze's apartment. But then there's somebody that wants to thank their agent and their friends and their co-stars and their best friends from high school, and they want to thank Lance and them and all the other people, and just on and 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 on, and they blow through the time limit and whatever else. So Seth Rogen said, "We bleeped over the boys and girls," as he went long on his speech. With the show nearly over, the sum had fallen below zero to negative $60,000. Bargatze said, "The number, I'll be honest with you, was embarrassing." And so he dug deep into his own pocket and wrote a check for $250,000 to the Boys and Girls Club. CBS added $100,000, and the money keeps rolling in. The $350,000 donation will be incredibly impactful to our programs and in the lives of kids and teens who attended our clubs, said the Boys and Girls Club. He said, but this moment, or she said, this moment was about more than the donation. It was also special because it placed our mission and our club kids on a national stage. And they pointed to the fact that donations for the same time a year ago were doubling and tripling what they were, or what they had been. So it's pretty cool. Even if it didn't keep everybody from going long on their speeches and have them writing a big check, it put the Boys and Girls Clubs in the spotlight. And there are a lot of people that are like, "Oh, I can't believe that lost that money. I'll write a check." Pretty neat. C-Spire text line open to you at 601-879-4395. We've got more details on the National Guard coming to Memphis. Some Memphis people are looking forward to it. Others are pushing back. John Fetterman. Boy, Democrats just hold their breath every time he opens his mouth. Sometimes he says things that are absolutely in line with everything they believe. And then other times he says things that seem to prop up what the right is promoting or thinks is good. And can you imagine Nancy Pelosi internally when she hears John Fetterman agree with something that Donald Trump is doing? Can you see Chuck Schumer sitting at his desk, feet propped up, got his laptop on? He's like, "Oh, what'd Fetterman say this time?" He clicks and then just takes the laptop and throws it across the room. I would imagine some of those actions generated from the sharing of his most recent experience of what the National Guard has been like in Washington, D.C. He lives in one of the areas that has become kind of dangerous, Navy Yard. Here's Fetterman.
Is threatening to send the National Guard into a number of these blue cities, blue states. We're seeing Democratic mayors in Chicago and in Baltimore resist federal help, additional federal help. Is that a good idea to fight Trump on this?
No, what I'll say is, like, I experienced that, it's like I live in Navy Yard. I would walk to work, and I would see a lot of National Guard people. It honestly wasn't a big deal. They were friendly. They were standing around. And this wasn't like there was Russian army. This was, it's our sons, our daughters, our fathers, our mothers kind of a thing. If you actually experience it on the ground, it's really not like it's not occupied city or anything.
So they're not occupying our cities? You mean that visible law enforcement is a deterrent to widespread crime and violence? And you mean that these National Guardsmen and women who are patrolling streets in dangerous areas are actually kind to citizens? That's what John Fetterman tells us about his experience in D.C. So Memphis is getting National Guard troops. President Trump has established the Memphis Safe Task Force to replicate in the Tennessee city the recent federal law enforcement crackdown in Washington, D.C. You heard yesterday, we talked about this with J.T. Mitchell a bit. Some leadership in particular in Memphis pushing back. Leadership in DeSoto County, especially the district attorney, saying this is a good plan. And by the way, when they cross state lines into DeSoto County, we're going to prosecute them. Trump said yesterday, this task force will be a replica of our extraordinarily successful efforts here, and you'll see a lot of the same thing, Trump said about D.C. I think I would point out one difference. Washington, D.C. itself, like inside the Beltway, isn't it significantly smaller?
It's pretty tight, yeah.
Than Memphis? And I know you've got different areas and you can get to different places, you know, Capitol Hill, and then you're out to Georgetown, and then you're out to rough places like Anacostia, or out toward the Navy Yard where RFK Stadium used to be, where Nationals Park is now. I know you got a lot of different areas, but geographically, I don't think you're talking about that big of an area compared to Memphis. And
no, Memphis is
that thing's spread out.
Memphis is 317 square miles versus D.C., which is 68.3 square miles.
Okay, so 5 times bigger.
Yep.
There certainly are parts of Memphis that are more dangerous than others, but we have seen with relatively recent news that even the quote-unquote good areas are not as safe as they used to be. The president noted that the task force was created at the request of Governor Bill Lee and GOP Senators Marsha Blackburn and Bill Hagerty. Federal law enforcement on the ground in Memphis will include the National Guard, FBI, ATF, DEA, ICE, Homeland Security, and the U.S. Marshals.
And the reality is the good places won't be good long if you allow criminals to overrun them. I mean, if that's what you want property values to plummet and all that, yeah, just let folks do whatever.
Bill Lee, the governor, says, I'm tired of crime holding the great city of Memphis back. When we come together, we can make significant change in our city and the city of Memphis, and I want to say thank you, speaking to the president. Trump said Chicago will probably be next. He says we were going to hold it off. We were going to do some of the smaller ones. The truth is our people are so good, I don't think we need too much practice. But we've got to go and save our big cities, our great cities, talking about Chicago. The choice to go into Memphis, notably supported by the governors and senators, while Memphis Mayor Paul Young on Monday refuted Trump's claim that he is happy about the plan to deploy the National Guard.
The folks that...
Wait, so now we got the mayor pushing back against this?
Well, you got a lot of folks, residents in there, the ones that don't want the National Guard coming in, either Chicago, Memphis, or these areas, making pretty good threats toward the president and to whoever's coming, National Guard and all that, and basically stating, hey, we're ready for you.
What did he say? Let's see here. The mayor said, I'm certainly not happy about the National Guard. The authority to call the National Guard lies with the governor and the president. And so as mayor, my goal is to make sure that if they are indeed coming, that we have an opportunity to drive some of the decisions around how they engage in our community. With regards to the National Guard, it is something that we don't have a choice in, and we're going to do all that we can to make sure that it has limited impact on our community. Mr. Mayor, I would actually encourage you to just get the heck out of the way because your city has become a cesspool. And I say that as someone who is in Memphis 40 to 50 times a year, and who is old enough to remember Memphis as a destination. Memphis is a place that is really easy to pick on. You get the Memphis versus Nashville stuff, and people who live in and love Memphis are quick to tell you, oh, everybody likes to crap on Memphis. No, that's not true. You know what everybody used to love was to shop in Memphis. Everybody used to love to go to dinner in Memphis. Go have parties in Memphis. Back when they felt safe in Memphis.
Man, it was awesome going up to Bill Street back in the 90s and having a big time up there.
Have a Nice Day Cafe.
Couldn't pay me to go up there.
So many cool spots. Great restaurants all over the city, including downtown. Can't tell you how many times we've been to the Orpheum. Love it. Beautiful renovation. I mean, it's been 25 years ago now, but the renovation they did to the Orpheum was a model for local places to restore national treasures.
You got to ask yourself.
And it is spectacular, and they get great shows there. But then a week and a half ago, you see a video where you just got people just shooting at each other outside the Orpheum on a random Saturday night.
And that's okay.
So you want me to take my daughter to go see Beauty and the Beast? You want me to take my other daughter to go see Aladdin? But I'm not sure if I got some people out here that are just going to start shooting at each other in the parking lot, like directly across the street. Memphis is an example. And it's a close example. It is a local example of what happens when you have decades of Democrat leadership and in the last decade, a handover of the justice system to not just the left, but the extreme left. Because I'm convinced that there are people who are traditional Democrats in the city of Memphis who recognize that the way the justice system has worked for the last decade or so has driven their city right into the Mississippi River. Right off a cliff. The whole catch and release thing, letting people go to jail, the cashless bail, not cracking down on hard crime over and over and over and over and over.
Oh, the results speak for themselves, right? I mean, I guess if you're looking at it, why would anyone, a leader of a city, want to see the city in this state turn away help that could clean it up, bring revenue back, and maybe, allow people to enjoy Memphis again? Because it is a beautiful city. But what would be the impetus for those types of decisions, do you think? Why would you want crime and homelessness and illegals everywhere, garbage all over the place? I mean, why would you want that? I guess that's what my question to any leader. I think we can see this. Is that what you want your city to look like? Yeah, I mean, let's ask that question.
What else could it be?
Yeah.
What else could it be?
Yeah, exactly. Let's ask that question.
And I don't know what to say to Paul Young. I don't even know what question. I guess I would ask Paul Young, you say you're not happy about the National Guard coming to your city. Well, tell me what has worked.
Yeah, what is your vision?
Joey and Savannah, my wife and I just ate concert tickets in Memphis. We just won't go there anymore. Thanks, Joey.
And that's going to happen in more and more places, too. I mean, that's just reality. People with a brain and are concerned that have children or maybe want to go do something and have a good time, they're not going to risk the good time for getting shot potentially or carjacked or whatever it may be.
I don't want to be part of the group that just piles on Memphis because it's easy to do. Because Memphis has got some really, really cool redeeming qualities.
It has great museums, got a great zoo, great shopping. I mean, the restaurants are amazing, good entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's so many positives. But again, you look at it and you go, why would you want it this way versus functional? Let's just say functional.
Yeah. But I would say the overwhelming number of people, overwhelmingly the people who used to go to Memphis to do their Christmas shopping, to go for a date night or date weekend. You remember Mud Island used to be a big deal. Mud Island's closed. Closed. Can't even go out there.
That's amazing, too, because I've been to so many concerts at that. What a great spot it was.
Yeah. People used to live out on Mud Island. I mean, it was high-rent district.
But it was a little grocery store out there.
I mean, it can be fixed, but you have to want to fix it. I don't know if there are enough people in Memphis that want to fix it. I mean, even if this is a short-term fix with the National Guard and the feds coming in, do you then say, good, they cleaned it up, now let's keep it like this? Or as soon as they leave, do you let it go back to what it has become? I don't know.
From the Venable Glass.
On Super Talk, Mississippi.
Last time with you on this Tuesday morning. We're going to do it all over again, starting at what time, Lance? What time do we start?
For you, 6:10, I think. But yeah, I got you.
Thanks for yanking my hiney out of the fire.
Oh,
Appreciate
man,
that
fun,
very
man.
much.
Always fun.
This Memphis resident wants the National Guard to come and try to make things better.
And, you know, it's just so dangerous that you can't get out of your car, you can't go to the grocery store, you can't go to the market or the service station. So, yeah, I want to see the crime stop. And if the National Guard is going to stop the crime, bring them out.
That was the voice of Olympia Pritchard speaking about the state of affairs in Memphis right now. And look, if you live in North Mississippi, I mean, that's our neighbor to the north. So, Lance, I lived in Dyersburg, Tennessee, which is about an hour and a half north of Memphis. And then obviously in Oxford, and I'm about an hour south of Memphis. In both of those places, the Mall of Memphis had the ice skating rink. Hickory Ridge Mall had the carousel inside of it. Was it the Raleigh Springs Mall that had like the little kids driving school out in the parking lot? They built the pyramid and it was like this wonder of the world on the river. Beale Street has, this legendary appeal for live music and a great party scene and all of these things. Great golf courses. The tennis tournament was outstanding. The golf tournament was a big deal. This was all before they got the Grizzlies. University of Memphis basketball was a huge deal out at the Mid-South Coliseum. You had the Mid-South Fair. You had Liberty Land. And look, I understand that time changes some things. But part of the reason that some of those things left and time changed them is because of the deterioration of safety in the city of Memphis. Nobody wanted to go to the Mid-South Fair anymore in Memphis at the fairgrounds because of how dangerous it became. People stopped going to Beale Street because it was so dangerous. You didn't feel good going with your friends and your family because bad stuff was happening too many times. You can clean it up, but then you got to maintain it also.
You got to have the commitment from leadership to be to create a place that all folks are welcomed and you want them, you recruit them, you take the time to ask them to come back. You don't create conditions where you run them off on purpose. And then you stand back and go, hey, I'm proud of this junk. Come over here and spend your money.
Yeah. I got something for you to close out today. This is one of our favorites. Politicians looking you square in the eye and lying to you. For this edition, we go to the mayor of the city of Chicago.
Oh.
Chicago. I'm sorry, that's not right. He's not the mayor of Chicago. He's the governor of Illinois. J.B. Pritzker. Congrats on all that Hyatt money you inherited, pal.
You have called Republicans Nazis.
No, I have
She said, you have called Republican Nazis. He says...
not. That is completely false.
Okay. That is completely false. I have not done that.
Completely false. I have never called Republicans Nazis.
Everything that he has done has been tearing down constitutional democracy. And that's what happened in Nazi Germany.
Nazi Germany.
It doesn't take very long to tear apart a constitutional republic. Indeed, the Nazis did it.
Oh, Nazis.
In 53 days. And our democracy is almost as fragile.
Ooh.
And we're seeing it right now. The dangers that we saw in Nazi Germany, especially in the earliest days of Nazi Germany, are the dangers that we need to react.
All right, so multiple clips. And I'm assuming that J.B. Pritzker, Lance, what would his defense be? He would say, see, you just played him. I did not say Republicans are Nazis. That would be his defense. But if I use a comparative example over and over and over, all we're doing is playing a stupid semantics game. That's all we're doing. And so when J.B. Pritzker says...
You have called Republicans Nazis.
No, I have not. That is completely false. I have never called Republicans Nazis.
I call you a liar, J.B. That's what I call you. But you don't care about that because you think you can just kind of say whatever and you never get really held accountable. February of 2025, in a budget address, Pritzker likened Trump's policies to Nazis' dismantling of Germany's republic. August of 25, compared Trump's Chicago troop threats to 1930s Nazi tactics. April of 25, Pritzker urged resistance, comparing Trump's U.S. to Nazi Germany. February of 25, defended Nazi analogies, warned of constitutional republic's end. August of 25, called Trump's agenda Nazi-like. I've never compared Republicans to Nazis. Never called them that. You're a liar. Thanks for being with us. Mornings with Richard Cross. For Lance, I'm Richard. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.